Well, hello there. Hello. Wow, I totally messed up that intro, but we're going to go with it anyway. Because, hey, mistakes happen. So, I am holding the camera, which is unusual. I usually have a stand sitting over next to me when I do this, but this is more of an update video, a few things I'm going to talk about, and hey, I might be steady enough. I don't know. I usually film motorsports stuff, so I might be able to hold this still enough to do this. I hope. Wow, those batteries must have been shot. So, with this, hopefully they don't kill my video. I gotta charge them anyway. I got a tractor pull this weekend. But without distracting away from the main thing, I took a little break because I was finagling and scratching my head with suspension and how to get it to work on something this tiny and be somewhat realistic to the actual counterpart or the actual vehicle. And I got away from it, took a break. I'd stopped thinking about it and stuff like that, and then it came to me. Well, actually what came to me was getting something a little different to actually adhere the vehicles together, and that ended up being where I work at. We've used it before. It's just a super glue called Cubon. Now, the super glue itself isn't really the magic. It's the little filling powder I'm using, and the filling powder, just you put it on there, and I've used it on this frame, and I used it on this frame, and I'm impressed. The two particular, I was able to break these two down bars out by just twisting them with my finger, and I haven't been able to do that with these. So I'm guessing it's doing the job and holding a lot stronger. With this frame here, I've put some of this. I was looking at how to get suspension to work, and I looked over here, and just sitting underneath some of the junk I have sitting over here that I haven't cleaned up yet over here. Just happened to be some electrical connectors. And it just so happens the one electrical connector fit perfectly down here, as you can see. And its purpose is going to be, there'll be another one put right here eventually. And the purpose of the electrical connector is going to be that I have some old tubing laying around from, not really old, picked up some tubing to make stuff out of polystyrene or plastic, same thing like your models come in. So I picked this up and realized, and just sitting up there doing nothing with it right now, I realized that I can utilize it to hold this piece, which will get put in. This has to be a permanent fixture, and then it turns out that I cut one of the bigger pieces, and that became the little axle here, or the little tube. And this tube is where you're going to attach things to. So it sits like this. And then beforehand, this is going to be one of the 4 links. And it too is electrical connection. And that, I'm probably going to change off of this little fork style. But it goes down over the tube. Now, it actually doesn't come off. It stays on pretty good. And then this is going to actually be able to pivot, and it's going to get another one that'll go inside the chassis here. And should actually pivot. And it's going to be the same way we're going to work the suspension. It'll take a little bit of work, but the spring will go over the little shaft that I've made. It'll butt up against, and then this will, the same way, drop down over the tube. And then when it drops down over the tube, it'll squeeze the spring in enough to give it the ability to spring out and spring in. And then now it has suspension, and this should be able to connect to the chassis in the same manner, like this. It'll have a tube, something poking out from here that'll be able to go over, and it will serve the same exact purpose in that it will allow me to have a functional suspension on this. And that's where I'm at with it. I really didn't do much except for repair some of the damages that came from the chassis sitting for a while, or that I caused. I didn't notice this, but it definitely, one issue I had on this chassis was the frame rail pieces aren't as straight as they could be, especially that one. But I didn't realize that with it being so weak on the JB Weld that I could have actually kind of just popped this right off. and then put it back up. But I've already glued this piece in, so it's kind of permanent. I can't break it. I've tried. I probably could, but I'm a funny feeling it would break more than just that piece off. This piece, however, came right off, and it is re-straightened out. Thankfully, it doesn't change much. It doesn't change too much, as the chassis sits perfectly upright. And I also did sort of kind of fix some of the bracing. This was obviously the prototype chassis. It still has issues. This chassis, on the other hand, is the one that's getting a lot of the attention in terms of I'm trying to be as detailed with it as I can. Not detailed, but as perfect as I can be. And I noticed with the new stuff I have, I can literally place things, and where I place them is where they stand, where they sit, which is really nice, because the trouble was with placing stuff was eventually overnight after sitting, if I didn't have it braced right, it would fall apart. And now it should be to a point where it won't fall apart and it should stay together. At least I hope. Sure, if you step on it, it'll still fall apart. But that's where I stand now with that. And hey, you know, it should work out. You know, and we'll see what it does. I'm hoping that everything works out, and I'm going to try to get another video up down the road here, and that'll actually be me working on getting the suspension components put together. I only have the base layout together. I didn't really do any huge fabrication work. I just prepped a few things, and I'm going to continue on trying to get some more videos up of working on these. I also know that I never got to part 2 to the other thing up, but it's actually lost somewhere now because I don't know where I put it. That was my dumb fault. So I won't be getting the part 2B to that up, actually, unless I happen to run across where I put it. If I do, I might throw that up and actually for you guys to see that second part when the video ran too long. But yeah, that's where I stand now. When I get some more electrical connectors, I got to find out where they're stashed at, if we have any around here. If we do, then I'm going to use them. If we don't, then I'm going to have to actually get some, and they will serve the purpose of being the suspension holds. So until next time, and until I get more parts, that's it for now. See you next time.